first of all, I'd like to go one by one and talk about the most abused drugs that I have seen, not only by adults, but also by high school and middle school aged children. Next, we'll go into how can I detect the presence of drugs in schools or in my home? What do I do once drugs are detected? That's the big question. A lot of people say, hey, I think my cousin or my child or a family member or maybe someone in school is having a problem with drugs, and you don't know what to do. You don't want to call the police right off because you don't want them to go to jail, because that's an easy fix. That's just a Band-Aid. And we'll go over, there's a brand new tool that has come out that I was made aware of about a month ago. And I'm gonna share that with you guys here in a little bit later on in the presentation. It's basically a one-call fix. I won't say a fix, but it's a one-call solution to a problem. What sources are available for persons who are addicted to drugs? There again, that's the one-call phone number that I'll give you later on. And how do I report suspected drug use or drug sales to law enforcement? We'll kind of go over that as well. So the most abused, sorry if I was going back and forth there. That cursor on my wife's laptop is a little sensitive. What are the most abused drugs? The first one, of course, nicotine. There's a lot of people who are smoking, vaping, and most people don't consider nicotine to be a drug, but it is. The next one is marijuana, alcohol, ecstasy, and then prescription pills and painkillers and the diversion of those. And we'll talk about that more here in a little bit. So let's start off with the nicotine. So what is it? And most people know that it's the addictive substance found in all the tobacco products. In addition to being addictive, it's poisonous. I had the unfortunate opportunity on many occasions working in the crime scene unit to attend autopsies. And I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of, and I wanted to grab some and I totally got behind, but if you've ever seen someone that's got black lung from working in a coal mine, the nicotine isn't as bad as a person who works in a coal mine, but it does discolor the lungs and causes a lot of problems. And there are a lot of people. I've been having to go through physical therapy for a wreck that I was in a month or so ago. And there's a young lady that comes in with pulling her oxygen tank with her, and she has COPD caused by years and years of smoking cigarettes. So that's just one of the damage it does to your body. And a lot of people are getting away from the old school cigarettes and going to the vaping. And we're having a lot of problems with the vaping because the corporations who manufacture the liquid that goes into the vaping contains a lot of heavy metals. And there again, those heavy metals will set into the lungs and cause a tremendous amount of health issues, including COPD and emphysema. And the liquids that are in those vaping, from the studies that I have read, will cause the appearance of the COPD and the emphysema to come on almost 10 times faster than smoking regular cigarettes. And I want you to pay special attention to the vaping because later on when we start talking about marijuana, you'll see some similarities in some of the things that we talk about. Some of the things to look for if you think maybe a person under the age of is 21 now to buy tobacco products. Is in all the gas stations, you'll see what they call Juuls, Juul, and those are vaping products. And I've been on several of the high school, Blythewood included, the property. And if you see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, those little pods that actually fit into the vaping device, you'll see those all over the parking lots. The one in the middle is a larger version of the vaping apparatus, and they have what they call juice to fill into the compartment, where the nicotine liquid is actually flavored with different types of flavoring, like strawberry, cherry. One of the canine officers at the police department, he uses one of those larger vapes, like the one in the middle there, and it smells like IHOP whenever he's around, because it smells like maple syrup and pancakes. Smells great, but he's just killing his lungs. And over on the far right of the screen, you'll see vaping pens, and that's going to come back again when we start talking about marijuana. But those pens are not much larger than a ballpoint pen, and the clear just below the mouthpiece is a clear open area, and that's where the nicotine liquid goes into. And then below that is the heater that heats up the liquid. So whenever you inhale and push the button on the outside, it starts the heating element inside the pen to actually vaporize the nicotine liquid, and that's what you're inhaling. And whenever you get something into your lungs, it's going to act quicker than if you were just to rub cream on your skin. It gets to your system a lot quicker. This is a couple of years old, but the amount of people who are vaping, if you look at the red, that's 8th grade, and this about around 18% of 8th graders who have said that they are have vaped. And if they're reporting 18%, I promise you it's more along the lines of about 40%. Nicotine use altogether, 8th graders, is around 10%, which you could probably triple that to 30%. Marijuana and hash use is down probably around 5%. That's probably a little bit higher. And those that are reporting to using flavorings in their vapes is probably around the same 17, 18%. And if you look at 10th and then 12th grade, you'll see that the numbers steadily increase. So if you got 12th graders who are saying that they used about 12%, I would guess, marijuana, I'd say that's probably a very, very low number. And a lot of that's not being reported, because I remember when I was in school, they may do it differently now. It's probably online and an anonymous format. But years ago, when I was in high school, they would pass out a piece of paper. You didn't put your name on it, but you just said, have you ever drank? Have you ever smoked? Have you ever done this? And then you turn it into your teacher, and then they calculated the numbers from there. So I know a lot of people who were doing some smoking marijuana and drinking in high school who definitely did not report it. So those numbers are unreported, definitely underreported, sorry. So we've got the next graph is a number of current users of alcohol and cigarettes versus illegal drugs. Out of the millions, 133.4 use alcohol, 56.8 cigarettes, and then 22.5% admit to using illegal drugs. And that is for persons ages 12 or older. Kind of a scary statistic when you have to bring in 12-year-olds into your into your group of persons that you're asking these questions. Another form of nicotine is smokeless tobacco. I know I've seen several high schoolers walking around with that, what they call that Copenhagen smile in their back pocket, that you can see the dip can in the back pocket. And they've increased the age. So if my calculations are right, if they're 21 and in high school, they've been there a little too long. So if you see them with it and they're under the age of 21, then they need to maybe rethink their where they're going, find out where they're buying it from. I can't tell you how many times that I've had parents or teachers come to me, and we have people who volunteer to go into stores and attempt to buy alcohol and tobacco for us. And when they're successful, we have fined the owners of those businesses for providing tobacco and alcohol for minors. So just keep that in mind. Any questions about nicotine? That's pretty straightforward. We all have been around long enough to know about cigarettes and tobacco and that sort of thing. All right. Next thing is marijuana. What is marijuana? Marijuana refers to the dried leaves, flowers, stems, and seeds from the cannabis sativa or cannabis indica plant. The plant contains the mind-altering chemical THC and other similar compounds. Extracts can be made from the cannabis plant, and we'll go over those in a minute. Although I will make this known and be transparent about it. Do I think marijuana should be legal? No, I do not, because of the THC that it contains. However, there are other chemicals that are derived from marijuana and hemp plants, which is CBD, the cannabinoids that are contained within those two plants. And the hemp plant is very, very similar to marijuana. Only difference is it doesn't contain the THC, the mind-altering chemical, like the marijuana plant does. And that CBD extracts have been shown to help children that have seizures and other disabilities. It helps them tremendously. So although I'm totally against the THC side, I am very pro CBD and the benefits that it has for people with pain management and helping children through some issues with epilepsy and that sort of thing. So percentage of students reporting daily cigarette use in the past month. And this is from 2017. And you'll see that the reporting amount, it peaked around 1997, 1998, and around 2000, from 2014 forward, it says that the number of people who are using marijuana has gone down to somewhere around 8 or 9%. I would suggest to you guys listening today that those numbers are inaccurate, because I can't tell how many times I've driven to work or I'm driving home from work and I can smell marijuana being smoked inside of a vehicle. And it's persons of all ages. And I think the numbers are skewed. Again, I think it's underreported. So marijuana, as you can see in the picture on the left, it's different strains of marijuana. On the upper left corner of that one picture to the left, you'll see what everybody normally sees, the light green to dark green color. But there are different strains of marijuana. They have beautiful names for them that are very, I guess, some of the names are used to help bring on younger smokers. They'll call them Girl Scout Cookie, Kush, Purple Kush. They'll name some of the strains after rap songs that will make it more enticing for them to buy. And then over on the right, you'll see what looks like a very viscous liquid, almost like honey. That is an extract of marijuana that is called dab, and it's a concentrated form of marijuana. And the process used to make it, not only is it dangerous because you're using some highly volatile liquids and gases, but the concentration is so concentrated that most marijuana back in the 80s when I was in late 80s when I was in high school, the concentration of THC in marijuana was somewhere around 2.5% to 4%, where nowadays the marijuana, the high grade marijuana, like they're growing out in the western states and down in Mexico and up in Canada and importing into South Carolina, some of those strains can have THC levels over 40%. So you get 40% THC and then you concentrate it. You're getting a highly not addictive, but it's very concentrated. It's got higher levels of THC in it. And the way that it's made is they use a vacuum tube that you would find in a chemistry lab, stuff it full of marijuana, and then seal it off, and then inject it with butane lighter fluid that's under pressure. That lighter fluid is pressed through the leaves, and on the other end, from where the pressure is coming in, the oil from the marijuana plant leaches out onto some type of surface along with the butane fuel that's coming through. And at the end of the process, they light that on fire, burn off all the butane fuel, and what you have left over is the concentrated THC. So there's been several house fires that have been caused by do-it-yourselfers who have decided to try to make their own dabs and have burned down their houses because they were trying to manufacture the concentrated marijuana in their house. Very, very dangerous and volatile. And again, here's the potency that I was talking about. You can see up in 2014, some of the potencies of the marijuana have been up to 80%. And that's from 2000 to 2014. So it's definitely a drastic change in the potencies. So if you think that someone that may be using marijuana, what do you look for? Well, the first thing is I'm sorry. Oh, Stacy said the smell. That's a dead giveaway. And you see the far right, the glass jars, the mason jars, the marijuana, the higher potency marijuana that's available today is so strong, the smell of it, that I've actually got behind a car, could smell it. I knew it was coming from them because we were the only two vehicles on the roadway. Pulled them over, and they had what I would call a nugget of marijuana, which is probably the size of 2 dice together. That smell was so strong that I could smell it in the car as I was driving behind them with the air conditioning on. So they use these glass jars, mason jars, thinking that the seal on those jars will beat the canine, our police canines, but you can smell it right through it. It's so potent that the smell is awful. So if you find some glass jars up in your in someone's book bag in a locker, and it's got some green residue in it, that's probably going to be where they're keeping their marijuana. Marijuana is normally sold, like in the middle picture, in small plastic bags. Those little bags are sold at some convenience stores, And if you walk into not some of the big chain stores like the BP or the QT that we luckily now have in Blythewood, but some of the smaller stores in the neighborhood, you'll see that they sell digital scales, they sell glass pipes, they sell these small bags. They're advertising bags as either coin bags or bags to put your stamps in for stamp collecting. But they sell it right next to marijuana pipes. Well, I call them marijuana pipes. They sell them next to glass pipes and digital scales, which are used for measuring, weighing out the drugs for sale. So be on the lookout next time you go to a convenience store as you're checking out, buying your soda and buying your gas. Look around and see what they have. Now, if you'll look behind the counter the next time that you are at the gas station, I went to buy some gas not too long ago, and in the back they have a lot of the cigar wraps like you'll see in the picture on the far left. And if you'll pay close attention to them, the store I went to was right there in Pontiac, and as I was waiting to check out, I counted 34 different brands of cigars, and all of them are basically the 2 for 99 cents. And what persons do that are using marijuana is they will cut the cigar open, replace the tobacco with the marijuana, and smoke it. That's called a blunt. And if you notice that when you're at the store, they come in grape flavor, chocolate flavor, and everything else, and they think that smell will combat the smell of marijuana as it's being burnt, but it just makes it smell 10 times worse, in my personal opinion. And I think most of you have probably walked through the parking lot of the school, of a gas station, and unfortunately, even as Stacy and I go walking around Doco Park, you'll see these random little piles of tobacco that are sitting right next to where a car would be parked. So what they're doing is they open up the door, knocking out all this the tobacco out of it, replacing it with the marijuana, and smoking it. More of what to look for the marijuana paraphernalia. You see in the far left-hand corner, those glass pipes. That's the kind of pipes I was talking about that they sell at the gas stations right next to the quote unquote stamp collectors or coin baggies. And if you see the other 3 pictures, these are more ornate ones that you can buy from some of the smoke shops around town. That one, I guess, second from the left is kind of a Halloween themed one. You got one there, third from the left looks like a cactus. And the one to the far right is more or less what I call the mad scientist. It looks like something that you would see in a chemistry lab, but they use it to smoke marijuana as well. On this one, some more paraphernalia. You see on the far right, I've seen where they will take out the core of an apple. And I guess when you're desperate times call for desperate measures, and they'll actually use a apple to smoke the marijuana. Now pay close attention to the second picture from the left. Those are what we call dab pens, THC pens, whatever you want to call it, but they look exactly like the vaping pens that are used for smoking nicotine or inhaling nicotine through like a Juul or something like that. They sell the cartridges that go in these pens online and come straight from Colorado or California, Canada and Mexico. And it's concentrated THC oil. Now the way to know the difference is nicotine the nicotine liquid that they put into the vape pens is clear. The color of the THC oil that they put into these vape pens is either dark brown, an amber color, or either black. And at those high concentrations, you think you would be able to smell it on their breath, but you can't. It's so concentrated, and those vaporizer pens vaporize it at such a high temperature that it turns it makes it odorless. So just look for the little cartridges, and I don't know if I can you see my cursor when I go move it on the screen? Okay. Right there, the cartridge, those pieces come out, and that's what I have seen littered on the ground and outside of different locations. So just be wary of that. I think next, any questions about marijuana and what you look for, anything like that? Any questions coming up? Okay, all right. Stacy's got the chat, so if you have a question that you want to ask on the chat, just shoot it to her or just go ahead and call it out. Next is alcohol, and this has been a problem for years, and it will continue to be a problem. The most commonly seized alcoholic beverages that we seize from underage drinkers are beer, and including all the brand new malt flavored beverages they have out there, the Trulies and everything else. They may taste great, but they're gearing their advertising toward the younger folks, and all these flavors are not for us adult drinkers. They're definitely gearing the advertisements and the flavors toward younger drinkers to start them early. We also get some wine and liquor, particularly vodka, tequila, and rum, and the pre-mixed alcoholic beverages that you can find in the pouches and that sort of thing. Seeing a lot of those. And the worst place we get them is at football games. I worked several of the USC football games, and most of the guys think that they will be searched coming in, so they'll ask their girlfriend or a female to bring in their alcohol for them. And I think that the most commonly worn outfits at USC football games are skirts with boots. And the young ladies don't realize that as they're walking by, we're looking down into their boots, because that's where all of them put their little mini bottles of liquor. And I was telling someone the other day, it was Parents' Day at the USC game, and a female came in, and something just didn't look right about the back hem of her skirt, where she had her top over it, her blouse over it. And there was a female officer working with me. I said, "You mind bringing that young lady over here?" So of course we escorted her off to the side, and her mom and dad came over with her. And the female officer told her that she needed to relinquish the liquor that she had in her skirt. And the mom piped up and said, "That's my bottles of wine I asked her to bring in for me." So we escorted mom and daughter over to the ejection point. We took down their names, and especially the student's name, because once she gets ejected from a game, she will lose her privileges to watch any more football games for the rest of the season. And so she and her mom were escorted out of the game, and dad was standing there. "What am I to do?" I said, "Either you can go with your wife and daughter, or you can go in and watch the football game." Being the man that he was, the great father he was, he went on in and watched the rest of the football game. So mom and daughter had to be ejected from the game, and the daughter lost all of her privileges for the rest of the season to watch USC. I am a Clemson man, so probably not a big loss anyway.
But getting ready to start putting money to Carolina.
But I will be sending my daughter to Carolina here shortly. So, so things to look for with alcohol use, far left side picture, the bloodshot eyes, of course, the middle picture, they're not blowing flames out of their mouth, but strong smell of alcohol. I will say this, persons who are drinking the Trulies and the malted beverages and stuff like that, the smell isn't as strong, but it is there. Now, on the far right-hand side are some of the I've seen these at football games. Craziest thing I've ever seen is people come in and have their binoculars around their neck, and as they're walking, you can start to hear it sloshing. They don't fill it all the way up to the top. So you stop them and ask them to search their binoculars. It sounds crazy and it sounds funny to say, but they have liquor inside these fake binoculars. One of the craziest things that I have seen that was recovered by the USC Police Department. There was actually a female who came in, and I'm not sure how they found it, and I don't want to know how they found it, but it was a fake bra insert that contained liquor, and they show those pictures of everything that they've seen so that we will know what to look for. You name it. If someone is determined to get alcohol into the stadium to drink, I promise you they're going to get it in there. And I tell you, if you're at a football game and someone is acting drunk or disrupting you watching your favorite team play, I know at the USC games, they up on the Megatron, they show that phone number or text that you can call. You don't have to say anything to your neighbor. All you have to do is text the row and the seat that they're in to the number that's blasted on the Megatron, and law enforcement will come over there and take care of that problem with you so you can watch your football game in peace. Just some numbers here for persons, again, 12, 13, 14 to 15, 16, 17-year-old. The number of people reporting to have that were binge drinkers, 12 and 13-year-olds, about 1%. That's probably a little bit higher. 14 to 15%, 14 to 15 years old, 3.5%. And 16 and 17, 13% is being reported. So you can probably triple that number, and that's pretty scary that 39% of the 16 and 17-year-olds are juniors, sophomore, junior, and seniors in high school who are binge drinking. So just be wary of that, because not only they're binge drinking and they have little life experiences and even less experience driving, and then they're going to take it upon themselves to drive from point A to point B. So if you see someone who's having an issue with alcohol, please do something about it. Don't turn a blind eye to it. Ecstasy. What is ecstasy? It's a synthetic drug that's made. It's a derivative of methamphetamine, which most people know as crank or meth or ice, that sort of thing. But it's a derivative of that. They've manipulated the chemical structure of the methamphetamine, and it's similar to both stimulants and hallucinogens. It gives you it gives you increased energy, pleasure, emotional warmth, and a distorted sensory and time perception. A lot of people use these when they go to rave parties or all-night parties, because they'll keep you up. Because of the meth that's in it, it will keep you up forever and ever and ever and ever. And methamphetamine, the main ingredient in the manufacturing process is sassafras. And you will see where people have gone and destroyed multiple hundreds of acres sassafras trees, and just to get to the root, and that's where it comes from, the root of the sassafras tree. Over in Europe and China, they've decimated the trees over there just so they can get to the root to manufacture MDMA or ecstasy. It's crazy the way that a drug has just decimated a whole population. To the left, you'll see on the next slide what pure MDMA looks like. It almost looks like clumped up brown sugar, and it's normally sold in what we call they're called gel caps. You can go to GNC, the Vitamin Shop. You can go to Amazon. You can buy these gel caps all day long, and then all they do is find a dealer that will sell them the pure MDMA, and then get 1/16 of an ounce and put that into the gel cap and sell it for at a rave party. They'll sell it from anywhere between $20 and $100 a pill for 1/16 of a gram. They're paying somewhere around, I think it's $200 a gram, and then they're selling 1/16 of that gram for. I'm sorry, I said 1/16 of an ounce. It's 1/16 of a gram. They're selling 1/16 of a gram for anywhere between $20 and $100. So they're making a killing off of MDMA. Some of the other forms that you'll find the ecstasy in is the pill form. And again, they gear them toward people who are going out to try to have a good time. You see the upper left-hand corner, the picture there on the next slide. It's got smiley faces. I've seen them with the Flintstones logo. The bottom one, we recovered a bunch of those about 3 years ago, right after President Trump was elected. They had Trump pills, and then the far right side, you'll see they have Tesla. The Tesla cars are very popular. And so whatever's popular, they're going to imprint that on the pills just to try to sell them, and it's marketing strategy for the street level pharmaceutical is what I call it. So on the next slide, what does MDMA do? Immediately, it will enlarge your pupils. It increases your heart rate and blood pressure. It increases your energy, gives you a feeling of euphoria, almost a high similar to morphine. Causes teeth grinding and jaw clenching. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not a doctor or what causes that, but for some reason, it causes involuntary grinding and clenching of the jaws. And a lot of times at these rave parties, and I worked them a couple of times at the township, and you'll see 16 to 20-year-old males and females walking around with pacifiers in their mouth, and they put the pacifiers in their mouth so they don't grind their teeth. Because of the increased heart rate and energy, it causes anxiety and panic attacks. And one of the biggest problems is it causes overheating and dehydration. I have never seen this, but they say that some of the rave parties, if it's inside of a structure or it's inside of a building, they will cut off all the water except to the toilets, and then sell bottled water for $20, $30 a bottle, because your body gets overheated so bad that you have to constantly drink water. And not only they're selling the drugs at these places, but they're also controlling the water fountains and stuff been cut off, and they're controlling they're making money off selling bottles of water at just a highly increased price. It's just exuberant prices and just making a killing. It can cause nausea, vomiting, dizziness, visual distortions. That's why they have a lot of the lights going on in the shows, just to enhance that high that comes along with the ecstasy use. Paranoia can cause psychosis, and if you're allergic to some of the things, or your body is not able to handle it, it could cause a stroke because of the increased blood pressure as well. Long-term effects, it could cause dependence, like any other drug that we've talked about, the tobacco, alcohol, and marijuana. Long-term problems with depression, impairment to memory and attention, and also liver problems, because our bodies were not made to filter out some of the chemicals that are in MDMA. It's like the alcohol. Our bodies weren't made to filter out all of the alcohol that for persons who are addicted to alcohol, weren't made to filter out that much alcohol to keep our bodies running properly. I saw a Dateline piece a few years ago about a young lady who was using ecstasy, not every day, just every weekend. She was valedictorian of her middle school class, and she was on her way to be valedictorian of her high school graduating class until her end of her sophomore into her junior year. She started using ecstasy, and her grades started plummeting. So she took her to the doctor several times, find out if anything was wrong, couldn't find anything. Finally, the young lady told the doctor that she was occasionally using ecstasy, went in for a brain scan, and it looked like her brain had looked like Swiss cheese, the holes in it, the inactivity, and she barely passed high school, and her mental health is in such shambles that she is pretty much stuck indoors all the time, totally antisocial, and did not go to college, and is living at home with her parents just because of her decision to party, quote unquote, party with her friends on the weekend. So it's a dangerous drug. Percentage of students who are reporting on the next slide any illicit drug use other than marijuana in the past year. This would include the ecstasy. 1991, the numbers were high. They peaked around 2001, 2002, and again they gradually coming back down in 2018. Again, I think these numbers are underreported. So if they say 1%, it's probably going to be around 3% in most cases. Next topic is prescription pills and painkillers. And what we're going to talk about today is more along the lines of diversion of those pills. I myself, I can tell you that I have been to the doctor with some type of upper respiratory infection. They give me 10 or 12 days worth of antibiotic. By day 3, I'm feeling great. So what do I do with those pills? Like everybody else, I put them away in case I get it again, so I won't have to go back to the doctor. And that's the problem. Once you should complete the cycle of the pills for the 10 or 12 days, whatever the doctor gives them to you. Don't stop at day 3 because you're feeling like $1,000,000. Keep taking those things until you've taken all of them. Or if you decide that after day 3 you don't want to take them anymore, you need to destroy them. And that goes for all prescription pills, not just an antibiotic. Give you a true life scenario. About a month and a half ago, our daughter had her wisdom teeth removed, and the doctor prescribed her, was it Vicodin? I think it was Vicodin for any pain that she may have. And we told her that, let's start out with Tylenol, see what we can do, and if the Tylenol is not enough, then we'll give you one of the pills. And we gave her one, and it didn't do anything. And about 6 hours later, we gave her a second one, and she thought she had ants and roaches and everything else crawling all over her body. And once she came off of that Vicodin, she handed me the bottle and said, "Dad, please do what you need to do. Get rid of these things. I don't want this anymore. I'll take the pain." But we were lucky because I've interviewed a lot of heroin addicts who have said that they broke a bone skateboarding, they had some type of dental surgery, they were in an accident, and of course, the doctor wants to do what's best for the patient to make sure that they are and help manage their pain. And some of us, I believe, are predisposed or have a propensity for addiction, and they start using and become addicted. You can become addicted to pain pills in 3 days. And those young people who are overprescribed or overindulge themselves with the pain pills can become addicted, and it can ruin their lives. Give you a great example. Myself and my partner working narcotics when I was at the sheriff's department, we were on the lower end of 2 Notch Road, looking for an individual that we had arrest warrants on. And this lady in a beautiful Mercedes pulled up next to us, and she said, "Have y'all seen a white girl, tall, thin white girl walking around this area?" And we told her that we had not. And she said she was looking for her daughter. And she explained to us that her daughter was a graduate of USC, had a degree in, I believe, graphic design or something like that. Very smart, very good with computers. But her sophomore, junior year at USC, she was involved in an automobile accident, became addicted to her, and she was also a swimmer for USC. She became addicted to the pain pills, and she did graduate, thank goodness. She was able to do that. And she became, once the doctor would no longer prescribe her the pain medication, she went straight to the street corner pharmacist, and she started using heroin. In order to support, she had no job, so in order to support her heroin habit, she became a prostitute. So she went from top of her class at USC to walking the streets, working as a prostitute, just to keep her heroin addiction at bay. A couple of days later, when my partner and I were in the same area looking for the same person that we had warrants on, we found her, and we had taken mom's name and number down, and we called her up. And when she drove away, she had promised that she would go into rehab. That was probably 15 years ago, so I hope she is doing much better. But didn't do any follow up because she lived in another county. So, but hopefully she and her daughter are doing well. So it's just a mind boggling thing that the drugs can do. So if you have painkillers, my grandmother passed away from cancer 18 years ago. And after she passed away, hospice was there. And luckily hospice went ahead and took all the fentanyl, all the painkillers that they had her on. They took them out and took them away and destroyed them, so that I guess none of us would be tempted to dig in and divert those pills to our use. Now, for some reason, the rest of my slides are gone, and I'm not sure why. Because the most important one is coming up that I wanted to introduce you to. Wow. Okay.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
All right. I'll keep talking while Stacy's looking for it. So, what can you do if you think? Let's start the easy route. If you think that you have a neighbor who is selling drugs or something like that, we'll go with selling drugs first. What should you do? Well, you need to notify law enforcement of what you have seen and heard. But nowadays, a lot of people are intimidated to do that because of the fear of retribution by those who may be involved in the drug sale. So the best thing to do is to call Crime Stoppers, and that number is 1-888-CRIME-SC, 888-CRIME-SC. Now that does not go into that does not replace 911. If you see something going on, or if there's an emergency, please call 911. But if you see that there's a house down the street, you can smell marijuana smoke, you see a lot of traffic coming in and out all hours of the day and night, and the persons who are coming are only staying between 1 and 5 minutes before they leave, that's probably going to be indicative of some type of drug transaction. And that's definitely something that law enforcement needs to be made aware of. Have you found it yet?
All right, I posted the link in the chat.
Okay. All right.
So see if they can click on that.
Stacy just posted the link to the in the chat to the presentation. So if you could maybe click on that, it should have all the information on the last couple of slides. Hopefully. But I'll pull my phone out and get the number for you if you want to put it into the chat.
Okay.
It's called CCRI, and I'm gonna post the phone number.
Anthony, I have it broadcasted.
Okay, good. Okay, the CCRI is a community-based mental health and drug abuse counselors. And I'll tell you how I came to find out about this program, and it's amazing. On occasion, I work at Prisma Health Richland, the old Richland Hospital. I work there on the weekends sometimes to supplement the security that works there. And a young man, a father, was bringing his son in, his 25-year-old son, because he was having some mental health issues, but his son refused to go inside the hospital, and he was basically having a meltdown in the parking lot. And I know from years past that if you wanted to force somebody, I can't force somebody to go to the hospital. They have to go inside the hospital and be seen by medical staff on their own volition. I can't force them to do that unless I have, oh, what's that now?
Are you on the slide? Sorry.
That's where I want to be.
Okay.
I know in the years past that if you wanted to force someone to be seen by a doctor, you'd have to get a pickup order by the probate judge. And during Monday through Friday, the normal business hours, 9 to 5, you could go to through the probate court to get it. But then after hours, you'd have to have them a doctor at the emergency room do it, but they don't do that anymore. So the company or the community outreach program is called CCRI, which is included in one of the last slides that you have access to. I called them. I called one of the supervisors working at the night shift, and he gave me their number. And I called them. They asked me where I was, what the problem, what was going on. I explained to them, and they sent out 2 mental health professionals out to the hospital in the parking lot to check on this young man to see if he needed to go in. And if they felt that he needed immediate help, they were going to sign the papers to have him forcibly taken into the hospital to be seen. So if you or any of your loved ones or someone that you know is in dire need of some type of mental health evaluation, and they really need the help, and they're a danger to themselves, a danger to others, reach out to the CCRI. I highly recommend them. There's other resources as well for outpatient care. You have Laredac, If you know someone that you can convince to go to either a AA, an Alcoholic Anonymous, or a Narcotic Anonymous class or meeting, encourage them to do so. I know in the northeast side of town, there's a multitude of churches and other locations that provide those meetings on a weekly basis, and some of them actually on a daily basis for those that need it. So just look at those resources, and feel free to contact any of them if you know someone that is in need of any type of help. I'm pretty much done. Is there anyone that has any specific questions for me? I think that my email address is also on one of the later slides. So if you need to contact me direct, you can contact me direct via my email. And my phone number may be on there as well. I can't remember. If not, you can email Stacy, and she'll give you my phone numbers or email, whatever, if you want to talk to me direct. Any questions before I sign off? All right. Thank you, guys and gals.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant Branham, and good luck on your retirement, and stay safe in the next few weeks. And we really appreciate all this great information that we can use in schools and in our own. All right, it's just about lunchtime, so let's go ahead and take a break, get our lunches, and maybe meet back here in about 10 minutes. So let's say about 12:40. We'll meet back here and we can have lunch together and just have some good discussions. Thank you.
a history buff